Hello traders, welcome to your daily market update for Tuesday the 5th of May, and overnight you can see that the economic data was quite subdued. We didn't have a lot on offer, so the markets really were quite range bound, but we did have the odd movement in the US dollar which did find support, which set things up. But the big news of the day is the RBA interest rate decision. We did just get an interest rate cut of 0.25%, moving it to an all-time low of 2%. The RBA statement is really what created the fireworks, and the market is really disappointed with the RBA statement, but it really leads to the bounce in the Australian dollar was due to the RBA not really providing any insight as to whether they are maintaining an easing policy. So the market's interpreting that as a neutral stance. So we could be coming towards the end of a rate cycle, and that has definitely impacted the Australian dollar, and we'll get to that in a minute. Coming up tonight, it is a quiet European session. There isn't a lot on offer. So the market will still be focusing on the RBA rate decision, and I think that we're going to continue to see the Australian dollar bulls maintain the attention of traders throughout the European session. We do have trade balance out from the US as well as Canadian imports and exports, followed later on in the session by non-manufacturing PMI data. So we have market services and PMI composite services. So I think that the US session will be dominated by the US dollar, and we'll keep an eye out. We do have the global dairy price auctions, so that will impact the New Zealand dollar. And if we do get a bullish result or a positive result over the last few quarters and months, we could see a bounce in the New Zealand dollar as well. Later on towards tomorrow, we do have New Zealand data, and once again unemployment rate will be focused on, and it's expected to actually drop, and if that is the case, we will see support in the New Zealand dollar there again. So the focus is on the Australian dollar right now, and we'll move into New Zealand dollar moving into tomorrow's session. The European session should be dominated by the RBA statement, and the US session will be dominated by US data and therefore the US dollar positioning. The US dollar has had a little bit of a bounce, as I mentioned, but we are still trading between the support and resistance levels. The resistance level used to be support at 96.2, and then we now have some support. If we do get and find resistance, we could look to fade away if US data starts to fail to impress the market. So punters are really on edge to see an improvement in US data. As of late, it hasn't been too positive, and we've seen the falls in the US dollar. And coming in later on this week, we do have on Friday non-farm payrolls, which, if it does disappoint, could send the US dollar through support levels and potentially making some new lows. Let's go to the charts, and we'll have a look here straight up. Usually I'll move to the New Zealand dollar, and as you can see, we have found a little bit of support here after taking out the recent swing low. So we have a lower swing low. We do have our triple top pattern, but we do have support for now. Until the market breaks through this support, I think that the market could be looking for some higher moves. But the New Zealand data coming out will determine exactly what happens moving forward. The Australian dollar has bounced significantly, as you can see here, and it has been off 77.8 cents, which was a historical level of support. And I think now we are going to see some moves higher. We have some higher swing lows, some higher swing highs, and I think the Australian dollar is going to be supported on the back of those minutes from the RBA. The pound has come off, and now it's testing the 100-day moving average. So the 200-day moving average offered resistance, and now we're looking at the 100-day, and we could see support around in this area. So we need to be careful and keep an eye out for that. If we do get some weak US data, we could see a bounce. However, if we start to see the impacts of the UK election, a break of the 100-day moving average and $1.50 would open up moves to the downside. So right now, technical traders are focusing on the current levels. The euro has found resistance here, and if we have a look at the 100-day moving average, you'll see that it's now testing the back of it. But if the US dollar fails to impress, we could see some moves higher and break through the $1.30 level. If the US dollar actually picks up some strength, we could see the euro have a few more falls yet. For now, keeping an eye on the technical levels. We will see support coming in where the old triple top was, and if the market was to come down and test this area, I'll be looking at the price action around that to see where we are headed in the near term. The Canadian dollar versus the US, we have had a bit of a bounce, but the US dollar and the Canadian dollar has started to stall if we move to the shorter time frames. So for now, we do have support at $1.19.5 and resistance at $1.23, and we're really looking for the market to decide where it wants to go from here. And I think it's going to be driven by US data and oil. Oil has been in an uptrend, but it's consolidated the last few sessions, so it's been quite subdued. The US dollar has had a bounce versus the Japanese yen, and we are moving to the higher end of what has been a consolidation band for quite some time. So it's going to be interesting to see what the data actually leads. And for now, we could remain within the range bound until the non-farm payrolls. Well, that's it from me today. Everybody, hopefully you trade well. I'll be back again tomorrow. So until then, trade well.